Okay, welcome in. Now, I got to first, I don't feel like I don't do this enough. Just say thanks to y'all for tuning into my videos, for watching them, for just commenting on them, for engaging. I feel like I don't thank y'all enough. And honestly, it really means a lot. And I probably wouldn't keep filming these videos if I didn't have a good core of people who just enjoyed watching them. So I appreciate y'all for that. I just want to get that out there. Now, with that in mind, I try really hard to be watchful of the promotions I put in my videos. You know, when you're a YouTuber, you get a lot of inquiries to put products in your videos. I say that humbly. I'm not trying to brag or anything. It's just that's what it is. And I say no to 80% of it. Every once in a while, though, something comes along that I just can't say no to. And it just piques my interest, and I think about it, and I think about what I can make with it. And this is the case with this video. Makera reached out to me about their desktop CNC called the Carvera Air, and I was pretty excited about this one. And here's why. There's two big reasons. One is I can make shop-made hardware with this for furniture. We're going to do that in this video. Two, when you run a furniture shop, there's constant maintenance on machines, constant parts that need to be fixed, just a lot of things and improvements that need to be made, jigs that need to be made. You're just always making something that doesn't directly impact the actual product you make. There's a lot of that going on. So this is a great little tool to make parts for machines that are not running right, or to make jigs, things like that. So with that in mind, I've got two projects real quick we're gonna hit with this machine. The first is some brass hardware for a very, very large pine table. Did not go into any of my videos. The only people who know that I made this table are my Patreons, because they see my shop updates every week. Not every week, but every couple weeks. The next thing I ended up doing, nothing special, is this is the original, not the original, but the old bandsaw insert, table insert to my big Oliver 36-inch bandsaw. I actually did a YouTube video on how I made this. It's actually pretty amazing that this thing is held together. And you can tell it's pretty beat up. The blade's really torn it up. But it's made out of mesquite, and I put a hickory spline right in the back of it. You might be able to see that, and it's kept it from snapping, because if you didn't have that spline, this thing would just pop in half real easily. And it's taken abuse, it's been slammed down, it's been hit by the blade, and it's held together. But what I want to do in this video is take advantage of this new machine and make a really nice aluminum insert for the saw that looks nice and pretty. So let's take a quick look at the Fusion file, go over what that looks like so you better understand what's going on, and then I'll show you how we made these washers. Now let's do a really quick overview of the machine. I got the bundle package, so I got all the tools, hold downs, bits you would need, a material package to do a few sample projects, which was really helpful. The machine itself is very well built, super heavy for one, easy to get started with. You just plug it in and turn it on, and the machine's ready to roll. It's got dust collection built into it, which actually works surprisingly well on my Festool dust extractor. And then it's got this nice little mount for my iPad, which I use to run the machine. Now, I started off just playing around with their laser module that they sent me. My kids had a lot of fun with it. They mostly just enjoyed wearing the red glasses that came with it.
What the? That's so weird.
Everything's red, right?
Yeah.
It's Audrey Hepburn.
Is she the one who made Hufflepuff?
No. And there's my son mistaking Audrey Hepburn for a Harry Potter figure. The machine does have a quick tool changer, which is really nice. It has auto probing leveling, so this is a pretty cool feature where if you put a piece of material in there that's not perfectly flat, it'll actually probe it in multiple places, determine where it's off, and make adjustments for that. It has 4th axis support, which is really cool. And one of my favorites is a sound deadening enclosed case, which keeps the dust and noise inside the machine. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the machine. Let's roll into making this brass hardware. So like I said, we've got a large pine table that's 74 inches wide by 96 inches long. And we're going to have this break down into 4 pieces so that the client can transport it. So we've got 2 breadboard ends that are going to pull off. Those are attached with tenons, and then the hardware we're going to make. And then that main table section is going to break into 2 pieces. So now you have 4 pieces, which you can pretty easily take, stack up and transport. So we need to design some hardware that allows us to attach the breadboards, but still gives the movement we need in the tabletop, which could be a lot since it's going from Texas to Colorado. There's a pretty big difference in relative humidity. First thing I'm doing is cutting out some brass stock. I think it's 1/4 inch thick, just bar stock. And I'm gonna glue it. So this is super glued to a spoil board, and then the spoil board is going to get double-sided tape to the bed of the Carvera Air, which I found to be a pretty useful way to attach things. Especially in this case where I'm gonna be cutting all the way around the perimeter of this part. I can't really put hold downs on it. So the design for this is basically an elongated washer. It's very simple, not overly complicated, but it's not something that I could easily order or make in my shop without this machine. So we're going to use the machine first to rough out a groove the size of the bolt head that's about a 1/32 of an inch deep. And then we're going to transition into a ball nose bit and start hogging out all that waste and creating that bolt head taper down to a 3/8 slotted hole. A lot of time in this, and honestly, when I was editing this and watching it, it kind of made me feel a little nauseous. So we'll just skip ahead and see what that looks like. Now here's a really good look at the quick change tool setup. So it's just a lever you pull down, releases the tool, and then you can put in the next tooling. A really quick and effective way to change out tools. And also you can change the spindles, so you can go 1/8 inch up to 1/4 inch spindles. So once I put the new tooling in, this is actually going to cut the perimeter of that part and size it to the size I want, and then it's ready to go. And it looks pretty good. At this point, I'm pretty excited that I was able to go through the modeling process in Fusion 360 and end with this really useful and functional piece of hardware that looks really nice on this piece of furniture I'm making. Once I had one of these down and kind of figured it out, I ended up batching them out and making them. I needed 6 total, so I made a longer bar stock, obviously, and just cut 3 out at once. It took a little while. I mean, this machine's not going to go insanely fast, obviously, because it's a smaller horsepower motor, but I can set it and forget it, set it up, walk away, work on my projects, and an hour and a half later, I have 3 finished washers that I can use for the hardware. Okay, so we got it all cut out, ready to install. I will say there's a lot more details on how this all worked over on my Patreon. Like I said, I did not shoot a YouTube video of this, so this is an overview. This is kind of how it ended up. So that threaded nut that I'm threading this bolt into is a part of the tabletop. It's attached to the tabletop, which is going to move, and the slotted groove in the brass hardware is going to allow it to slide in the breadboard end and change seasonally. Now, I left a lot. There's probably not going to be that much movement. But they're, over 74 inches a piece of pine. I bet it could move a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch throughout the seasons. Even if going from Texas to Colorado, like I said, is a big shift in humidity. All right, so now I'm pretty excited about this one. The bandsaw insert. This is one of many things that I've had on my list, and this machine is going to absolutely kill it. It's going to make this really quick and really easy. I ordered just a 12 by 12 by 3/8 thick sheet of aluminum, and right now I'm roughing out a piece, and we're gonna load this up on the Carvera Air. Now here I am double siding, sticking it down to a spoil board. You're going to see in the footage after this a different clamp method, which didn't work out. And actually the part ended up moving while I was cutting. I thought I was being clever in how I was using my clamps, but I wasn't. So we're kind of mixing clips a little bit, but that just clarifies the clamps. The setup here in the iPad's really easy. We set the offsets, and then once we know everything's dialed in, we hit the run button, and it'll prompt us to make sure that we have the laser probe installed. We install that laser probe, and then the machine itself is going to go through the process of probing the stock on the machine. So now what it's going to do is, this is a really cool feature. It does a laser outline of your stock, so you can make sure everything is in the right spot and you're not going to hit any clamps or hold downs. And then this is the Z probe, probing that Z. Like I said earlier in the video, you can set it up to probe multiple locations if your part's got some variation in thickness or any kind of bends or bows, and it'll auto adjust for those, which is pretty neat. First thing we'll do for this is thickness it. It's slightly 3/8 is slightly thicker than I need, so we're going to face it and take 4 or 5 passes off and make it a little bit thinner to fit in our bandsaw table. And you can see here with the enclosure closed, I mean, it's pretty quiet, and it keeps all those shavings. I don't run the dust collector with the machining because it has air cooling, so I've got a compressor hooked up to it, and it's blasting air on that tooling, keeping it nice and cooled down. And here's a sped up shot, pretty cool, of that insert being made. This probably took around an hour for the machine to carve this, and like I said, it came out really nice. I was actually really impressed, and the fit was spot on. We got the old one, popped it out. Now I do have one to the right there that I messed up on, so it took one to get it right. This one drops in perfectly and just looks nice, clean, flush to the table. Exactly what this bandsaw needed. Okay, a few things here in closing, and I really would hope that you guys stick with me because I got some things I want to say. First is, I think it's always good to be transparent with y'all on how these deals work. Makera did send the CNC to me. I did not pay for it. Generally, you do get a sponsorship fee for these, but I did not get a sponsorship fee, so they did not pay me to promote the machine. And that's just the terms of the deal. So I wanted the machine. I thought it would be helpful in the shop, and it's already proven to do that. So if you're interested and you think this machine could be helpful for you, I do have a link in the description that you can follow to order one, and that earns a little bit of a kickback to me. Just keep that in mind if you decide this is something you want to look into. A few things in closing. First, I want to say the world is changing crazy with technology, and we all know this. We've got AI kicking in now, ChatGPT, so much is happening. It's overwhelming almost to me as a business owner, as I've started to kind of understand how AI can help me, and also think this is scary, like super scary. And then we've got a lot of manufacturing machines that are now coming into the small market for homeowners or small business owners like me, this CNC, 3D printers, all that kind of stuff. If you want, here's what I want to say, and I want y'all to really hear this. If you want to build really good handcrafted fine furniture, I like to call it heirloom furniture, because if you build it right, it'll last generations. It'll be an heirloom. If that's what you want to do, all roads lead back to the chisel, to the hand tool. There's nothing, you have to learn those fundamentals. You have to learn how to use those tools. I believe that. I believe that you have to master that before you should start just making things with CNCs. I'm at peace using technology. I actually enjoy the technology because I know I can pick up a hand plane and a chisel and build anything I want just using those. It would take a lot longer, but I can do that. And you even saw in this video, to put those brass washers into that table, I had to use my chisel. I just chiseled it out. So like I said, all roads lead back to the hand tools. And I'm going to teach my kids this, and I want y'all to hear this. I want to encourage you. Don't turn a nose up. Don't turn your back to technology. I think that we have, for me, one, you just have to embrace it and see, where can this be helpful to me? Where can I find the balance between this machine that I push a button and does everything for me and creates the perfect part that's soulless and has no handcrafted touch to it, between the long process of doing something by hand that has the mark of the craftsman in it. Where do you find that balance? And a lot of that decision is made within the framework of your business and being efficient. So that's kind of a philosophical, I don't know what you call it, thought on this. I enjoy the the technology, and I'm at peace with using it because I first learned how to build everything with hand tools, and like I said, that's very important if you want to build good furniture. So that marks it into this. I want to end by saying one last thing. I didn't mention this in earlier parts of the video, but Makera does have a really good technical support. And I found this out because I had to learn this machine over the last 6 weeks. They have great online support. They have this guy who makes videos. You'll get to know him pretty good. I've watched a ton of his videos. He does a really good job explaining the machine, how to use it, and for the most part, you can answer all those questions. And if you get stuck, what I do is I just go to ChatGPT and explain my problem, and generally it'll figure out how to fix it for me, which is the world we live in now. So I'm thankful for y'all. Like I said in the beginning of the video, please feel free to leave a comment. Any questions about the machine, about the video, feel free to do that. And if you want to learn more about the table I was working on, you can go over to Patreon and join and support me that way and get more shop updates. So best to you guys. We'll see you in the next video.